This video shows how to set up the PixNode mini tree for use with xLights. Now, this video is somewhat generic in nature because there's so many possible configurations a customer can have. So, the things that you're going to have specific to your installation is which tree, 19, 27, or 42 inches, and then the number of degrees, either 360, 270, or 180. Also, depending upon the way you wire your tree and whether you have a star, and then also the way you have set up your controller within your display. So this video is not intended to provide absolute instructions for every single situation, but this should help you get to the point where you have proper setup. Contact us at holidaycoro.com/contact us if you have additional questions. Now, what we have here is we have to first decide what one we're going to use. Now, in our case, we're just going to start off with a very standard setup, which is 50 pixels, which is in 5 columns of 10 nodes on our 19-inch tree. So let's look at that tree here. So here's our tree, and this is the 19-inch, and you can see that we have a 180 here, and so we start 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's 10 pixels in each column vertically, and then in this case we're going to use 5 columns, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're not going to use this column, and we're not going to use these columns over here. So if you were going to start at 270, you'd start here, 360, start here, and those will vary depending upon what you're seeing in here. So look at how many columns. So for example, in our case of 270, we need 8 columns, 80 pixels. So keep that in mind. All right, so the first thing we're going to do here is go into xLights, and we're just going to set up something fairly simple, and this is not necessarily going to match yours. So we're going to just set up something basic. I'm going to set up our default IP address on our controllers, and we're just going to assume in this case we're going to set up the 19-inch star, 50 pixels, with a 20-node star on top of the PixNode tree. So that means we need 150 channels. So 19-inch PixNode tree, that's the tree portion. So again, 150 channels, which is 50 pixels times 3, which is RGB. I'm going to add another one here, 192, 168, 050, and we're going to just say universe 2. In this case, we're going to put 60, and we're going to do PixNode star, tree star. All right, 60 is of course because what we have here is our star, and our star, which is optional, has 20 pixels. So we're going to go back to xLights, click OK. So again, this could completely and almost surely will be different from your particular setup. So we just need something to show you here. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is set up our tree. Now, we have a completely blank canvas here. If you have already started your display, you'll have a bunch of items here, maybe an outline, a matrix, a mega tree, snowflakes, arches, whatever it may be. You already may have a display. This case, we're starting off with just a single element, the PixNode tree and the star. Okay, so we're going to go up here to the Creates Tree, and then I'm going to click on that. I'm going to go down here with my left mouse, and I'm just drag there. And you can see it creates a tree. I'll just give it a name here, PixNode Tree 19-inch number 1. All right. Oops, I'm sorry. We could put a quote there. PixNode Tree 19 number 1. All right. Now, our tree is round, but it is not 360 in this setup. We're going to do 180. Now, rotation just depends upon how you want it to visually look, so we're just going to leave it at 3. We do not have any spiral wraps here. This is going to be just straight up and down. We're going to go up and down, up and down, up and down. The top-bottom ratio, typically 5 works best. This is the ratio between the hole in the top and the hole in the bottom. So 5, you'll see that opens it up a little bit. And the perspective is how you're viewing it, whether you're viewing it from straight on. And in this case, if you want it straight on, you can see 0 is the number you want. Or you can look at something where you're looking at it slightly at an angle, or maybe less than slightly at an angle. So we're just going to put it 3, which might be more typical of a viewing angle where viewed from a car or standing in front of it. Now, how many strings do we have? We have one string because this particular tree is going to use one 50 count string of pixels. So we have one. And how many nodes are on that string? There are 50. So we can see this, put 50 in a single line here. That's not right. So what we need to do is tell it how many strands of string are they. So in this case, we have 5 vertical strands. So you can see now it's taken those 50 nodes in one strand and broken them out into 5 10-node strands, which is exactly what we want. Now, starting location is shown here, is viewed from the front. So this assumes the starting location, meaning where's our pixels starting? That means this pixel right here is where we're starting, viewed from the front of the tree. So as if we're looking at the tree and we look at the wire, it's coming over here and it's hooking up to this pixel going up. Well, we're not going to wire them that way. So let's go back and look at our tree. We can see that in this design, it shows us that we start a pixel here and go up, then over. This is shown from the wiring side. So keep that in mind when you're configuring this. So we're going to say bottom right. So we want bottom right. So this means the pixels are coming in over here on the right-hand side, going up and then down, up and then down, up and down. Now, you can choose to do it any way you want. It's completely up to you. Now, the next thing we're going to do is go over here and say the start channel. And I can be very explicit and just say, here, this IP address, this universe, and I want that specific thing. Now, you may be using absolute addressing, or you might have the star at the end of the tree model. There's all different kinds of options here, but again, this is just what we need for our setup. So what we're going to do here is just a little bit of a sanity check. We're going to go over and right-click here. We're going to say wiring view, and we're going to look at how it thinks that xLights is wiring it. Now, keep in mind it says caution reverse view. This is reviewed from the back of the model. So this, you'll see, matches this. So we have it starting over here, going up and down, and we should have the same thing here. 1, pixel 1, going up 10, 11, jumping over. So this 20 to 21, for example, that is right here, right there. Okay, so everything looks good. We've got, you can see 50 pixels. So we're good to go there. So we've finished our tree model. So now let's just put a star on it. So what we're going to do is just go over here, click on the create a new star. I'm just going to drag a star up here, move it over a little bit, and there's our star. Now, just to recap here, star has 20 pixels, and we're going to start wiring them going this way we typically do it, which is to the right-hand side. This is viewed from the back. So first pixel, second pixel, third pixel in this way when we wire them in. And so what we want is, again, this is viewed from the front. So it's bottom, center, and then it will be clockwise. So it's going to go, when it's viewed installed, it's going to go clockwise because it's going to go backwards. And in this particular case, it's trying to pick up the last pixel here of the model. In this case, what we're going to do is instead say very specifically, go over here and use this universe and that channel. Okay. And so now we have set that up. Now what we're going to do is just go over to the sequencer here, and we're just going to go ahead and say File, New Sequence, Animation, Quick Start, just so we can get something in here. And what we're going to do here, we're just going to take the bars and drag it down here, and we can see that we've got top to bottom. That's looking good. And if you wanted to, you can also put similar effects down here on your tree. You can see that there is a direct relationship. As you can see, the fire is starting from the bottom and going up. And you can see that it shows the appropriate pixels. And we're all set there. So now let's go back here to layout and see what we need to do to make more of these. So if you need to make more of these, you have 5 of them, for example, you just select them and you can say Control C or copy. So I'm just going to say Control C, and then I'm going to do Control V, and I'm just going to paste them, and I'm going to paste them, and I'm going to paste it, and I'm just going to put them throughout my display as appropriate. Now you will need to go back in here now that you've done that, and you will need to tell it exactly which thing it's mapped to. So which output, which universe, channel, However you have that set up, you will need to adjust each one of those to a very specific start channel for not only the star, but also the tree. All right, so let's remove those. And now let's look at some other tree. So let's just say we want to do a different tree. So let's go back here. Let's say that we're going to do the large tree at 180 degrees. So here we have 16 columns at 17 nodes for a total of 102 pixels. Okay, so what we're going to do here is 6 columns, 17 nodes. So we need our string to be 102, and we have 7. So let's go back here, look here. We have 6 columns, 6 columns. We're going to start off in the bottom right-hand corner. And you can see that it's made that adjustment. So let's just right click over here and say wiring view. And you can see we have 102 pixels. And in that particular setup, this would be here, start here, go up and then down, and then we end down here. And you can see that we do. All right, so let's just try that if we were to do a 360 tree. So we'll do 360. And so let's go back and look at our setup for 360. With 360, we have 170 pixels, 10 columns, 17 nodes. So we have 170. We have, 10 columns. And there we go. And we can right click and say wiring view. This may not look pretty because these are overlapping because you have 360 degrees. So we're actually starting here, going up and then down and then up and then down. So that does appear to be correct. 170, 10 strings. Yep. So hopefully this has been helpful in allowing you to figure out how to properly set up a model for the PixNode tree.